practice of meditation has multiple levels of meaning, but in all of the religions that utilize meditation, there's a certain sense of recognition for these different levels: the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, that are all intertwined. So, what we often start at actually in meditation is a very basic physical practice, that is sitting and relaxation, following the breath, some of the basic physiological functions, and our higher sensory perceptions, such as thinking and awareness, and um, other forms of subtle perception, are all utilized to focus on the body. From focusing on the body, you also pay mind to thoughts that arise, and instead of trying to squish them out of your consciousness, you just simply recognize them and then passively return to the breath. This sort of relaxation, this tendency to release thoughts and tensions and emotions, is probably the essence of meditation. There are many different methods to do this, and the most primary method is just following one's breath, perhaps counting their breath, in and out, very naturally. After a few breaths, the meditator is expected to simply relax and allow their body to breathe naturally. Don't try to control your breath. Don't try to count it or create some kind of rhythm. And perhaps in the best way, allow your body to breathe as if you were asleep, with no conscious interaction or direction or intention. This simplicity and release of our consciousness allows our body and our mind to expand into itself and into its environment, to recognize things that maybe we didn't recognize before about ourselves, about the world. Intellectually, meditation is important, and emotionally, in that certain feelings will always arise during meditation. You'll feel upset, you'll feel anxious, you'll notice how your body is connected to your emotions and your thoughts. You'll notice certain tensions that arise in particular areas of your body, as well as certain methods of breathing that correlate with particular types of emotion. For instance, if you're anxious, you may begin to breathe a little bit heavier, or you may begin to hold your breath in suspension because you're feeling some kind of tensity. These sort of things you begin to notice about yourself during meditation. And if you are practicing in the more correct way, you begin to let go of these tendencies in order to relax more at deeper and deeper levels. One of the next stages is noticing your thoughts, noticing the things that pop up in your mind, and simply being aware of them. And again, how those thoughts are related to the body and the emotions. So each one is connected to the other one. You begin to notice what kind of thoughts arise. You begin to notice that many of these things are just simplistic chattering, babbling on. The mind is very habitually attached to thinking constantly. At this stage, you begin one of the most difficult tasks, which is sustained attention. Now, throughout this whole process, your mind is going to be wandering, but you're going to be trying to pay attention to following your breath, or pay attention to feeling your body. But all the while, your thoughts will be popping in and out, chattering about things, and distracting you constantly. The key here is not to try to control your thoughts and not to try to silence them, but to simply recognize them and continue to follow your breath, to continue to return to the breath, or whichever other focus that your meditation may be appealing to. This sort of relaxed state, this new habit of relaxation, helps release older habits of habitual thinking, habitual tense emotions, habitual physiological tensity, and overall releases stress at a physical, emotional, and intellectual level, freeing up a lot of our energy to begin to develop ourselves in a much more integrated and harmonic fashion. The more subtle levels at this stage which is not a very, very developed stage. Can actually all happen in one night as you're meditating, as you begin to sustain your attention more and more on simply following the breath and feeling sensations, just being aware of your body and aware of your thoughts. You begin to notice this awareness is some kind of deeper level of consciousness, and you don't think of it in a very sophisticated term. You just begin to recognize there's a component of yourself that is not lost in all of these things, that is capable of just simply being, and that is made up of all of these things, but isn't only these things. There's more to you than your habitual thoughts, emotions, characteristics, and tendencies. And this is the more subtle level of development, where you may begin to notice more subtle energies and even more subtle physiological traits, such as feeling your heartbeat, feeling the blood flowing through your veins. In this extremely relaxed state, mental thoughts, the origins of mental thoughts, when a thought becomes a thought, it begins to be noticed. You'll begin to be able to notice when you're about to think about something, not just when thoughts pop up. So you begin to really gain an awareness and a clear precision of recognition of your inner perspective, your inner self, your interiority, all that you are as a whole, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and rationally. All of these things, you trace them back to their origin, hence the word introspection. And this practice, no matter where you go, is a very efficient and very good way to develop one's sense of self and understand one's connection to the world and one's connection to all of the things. You begin to analyze your past. You begin to resurface deeply entrenched emotions that perhaps are making you tense. So in a way, meditation is also very therapeutic. And in all of these ways, it helps us develop our sense of self as connected to the world. Because the more relaxed and aware you are, the more you notice relationships, connections. And there probably is no other time where you're going to hear and feel your heartbeat and feel the blood flowing through your veins. And perhaps even begin to feel, if you believe in this, and not necessarily if you believe in it, you may feel it either way, the subtle energies of the body, the chakra systems, the chi or ki of the body, energy flow, and you'll see how it is all interrelated and just simply being the body as a natural, organic, living system, as perhaps wonderful and magical as a forest might be seen, as the consciousness of plants and animals and other beings. So you begin to really relax into these deep states of consciousness. And when you return, you bring with you more recognition in everyday life. Perhaps a little bit less stress, perhaps a little bit less um, neurotic tendencies, and you become more balanced. You become more human and more feeling. So, if you're not familiar with meditation, I definitely recommend it with any kind of practice spiritual teacher or any kind of very basic meditation book or CD, just to experience the whole art of it. And if you can, to sustain your practice for, say, even 10 days and see what kind of effect that has in your life. So, thank you for listening. This is The Art of Meditation.